let's get into this. And this is going to be, we're going to talk more spoilers here. And I want because now everyone has been able to see it. Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. I saw in a theater on Wednesday evening with Paulie from Latino Slant. We did a 2+ hour live stream right after. George the Giant Slater joined us. Alan saw it as well because he snuck in the theater. I did start to watch it again last night and I fell asleep. It's the thing. Here's what I think is that seeing in a theater was like, oh, this is not very good. And then seeing it on television, like, oh, this is more made for the pacing is more television pacing. It's very slow and purposeful. And it was boring. The only exciting moments were in the second episode between, they're saying that the elf Elrond is gay. Is that true? I also don't care.
I think that's what Grace Randolph said.
Is he? Is he?
I think so. From what I've gathered, that's been the debate. British actors, why do they always seem gay on screen?
Yeah, but I don't think also who cares?
I don't think so either.
All right.
No, do we want our Lord of the Rings to have characters having sex throughout the entire series? I mean, maybe we do. Maybe that will spice things up, but I don't think that's what we want in this series.
I'm told there will be romance and love scenes in future episodes of the show. Almost, Game of Thrones, when there's sex in Game of Thrones, it's not always normal, just romantic sex. It's, something else. But the comments are interesting here. Old Torf 520 says, I tried watching the first episode of Lord of the Rings of Power last night, passed out about halfway. I did too. I'm like, okay, well, it looks better on my television than it did in the theater. The terrible makeup didn't stand out as bad. And then, but it was so slow moving. So slow moving. My God. And Dempsey, thank you for this, Dempsey. Here are the current Rings of Power Rotten Tomato scores. Critics, 84%. Audience, 37%. RK Outpost, shout out to Ryan Cannell, says they are deleting bad reviews. Oh, is that true? Alan,
I don't know. I'm looking at it now, and there's only 5 reviews.
Can you share screen?
Critics.
Share screen. Yeah. And let's go to some more comments here. Thank you for that. Dempsey says, this is a quote, all that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. J.A.R. Tolkien. I figured I would put at least a little of Tolkien's actual words into this. He deserves that much at least. All right. So who do we have? We have Wenlei Ma as a top critic. What does Wenlei Ma say?
It is a visually spectacular series with ambition and scale. You can see every dollar they spent in its impressive high-end production. So she likes the look of the movie, basically.
Well, no one's going to argue it looks good, but is there a compelling story? No. I mean, at least not in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah. So the one negative review here says, when each scene is sealed under a layer of lacquer and gloss, how can any emotion hope to pierce through?
It's true. And it says the first 2 episodes, this is Peter Travers, the first 2 episodes of the costliest series ever are a visual feast plagued by thin characterization and pokey pacing, put breathless excitement and vibrant flesh and blood on the wish list for that final 6 parts, and we just may have something here. It's sort of a mixed review, but it still gets a fresh.
Yeah. But what's common amongst the positive reviews is it looks good. The visuals are amazing.
Yeah, I think even the bad reviews would agree. It's like, oh, it looks amazing. That's not why people watch things. So and then Charles Pulliam Moore from The Verge. What is this? It's rare that a series lives up to its studio's dreams of it feeling like a bingeable TV and like a big, expensive cinematic event. Between a slate of strong performances and an eye for detail, The Rings of Power seems like it could be just that.
Yeah, so
well, he's hopeful.
Yeah, it's a hopeful. I mean, these are basically, they've only seen the first 2 episodes. So
yeah, let's see. A Chernobog for $4.99 says, "Thanks for the Sniper Rogue mission. Now I just have to watch the first 8. Good thing it's a holiday weekend." Oh, that's great. So, Yeah. Yeah, we gave away, if you are a member, and thank you, Chernobog, for being a member. If you're a member, you get additional content. We'll post like other videos and photos of what we're doing. And we do giveaways too. So we just posted 10 digital codes for Sniper Rogue Mission. And it was free. It was like first come, first serve. Throw in the code and, part of your collection. Jamin D for 20. Greetings, Chris and Alan. Question for you both. When did you both start seeing movies in more of an analytical way? And what made you decide about getting into this line? I think it's a good, let's answer that later
Mhm.
when we're going to come back to that.
Okay. So I'll keep it starred, by the way.
Keep it starred. Kevin says, I watched the first episode. I thought it couldn't be as bad as you guys said, but I was wrong.
It's even worse. So we were kind, basically.
Yeah, it's even worse. I can totally relate to Alan being done on the first episode. Yeah, Alan. So, see, I don't know if we're going to continue to cover it. It really is going to depend on what the audience wants. I mean, there's over 300 people watching. So, I mean, there's nothing at the movie theater until October. Literally between now, I mean, there's a couple things that are interesting. There's a horror movie opening next week called Barbarian that I've seen that I think is quite good, and we'll discuss it. There is a horror film called Smile. A lot of horror movies are coming out, but early October is going to be Black Adam. What's that about? We'll see.
It's got the rock. That's all you need to say.
Yeah. But yeah, I understand. Like, Alan, like, you're not going to watch it then.
I mean, if we're going to keep talking about it, I'll watch it. But honestly, I'm not excited. I mean, for some reason, I was really excited about going down the Kenobi rabbit trail. Rabbit hole, and this one I'm just not feeling it.
Luther Talbot for 5 and also a member. Thank you. I watched this for the diversity of thought. Keep doing your thing, guys. I appreciate that. Yeah, like, this is why I don't understand, like, when Matt Walsh had that movie documentary come out, What is a Woman? We reviewed it on the channel. You can look it up. Just look up What is a Woman on the Film Threat channel. You'll see our review. It was reviewed on the website by a guy named Dante James, who's a freelance writer for us. Dante does a whole bunch of other stuff too, but he's also a friend. We hang out at conventions, and there you go. Dante, great friend. So we had a whole discussion about the film, and people were mad at us just for reviewing the movie. I don't understand what this weird censorship thing is that's happening, but
and it's never
the Instagram thread.
It's never about what we say about the movie. It's the fact that we reviewed the movie.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, like, yeah. It's also, other people are welcome. All the mainstream movie outlets can review the movie and give it a terrible review. They're welcome to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you put enough, it goes down to 1% on Rotten Tomatoes, and you've accomplished what you wanted to accomplish.
There you go. Mark Hicks says, Elrond, he is not gay, but it wouldn't surprise me if Amazon made him gay. It's true. Yeah, Jack D. Ripper says, why does sexuality matter? It really doesn't. Here's the thing. I don't care. I never thought when I was a kid, like, watching movies, I never cared what the sexuality was. It just, like, I didn't like think about it. It wasn't something I thought about. It was just like, I didn't think about, well, what's C-3PO's sexuality? Is C-3PO non-binary? I don't know.
Technically, he's binary, but
Seth Hauk became a member. Thank you for that. Zachary Bloom says the characters in this show are so emotionless and bland. Were they like this in the books? Well, the stories that they're using as the template for this, which they've taken they're being liberal with what they've been given, is from an appendices called the Cimmerillion. I only know this because I watch Gary Beekler at the Nerdrotic channel. Go Nerdrotic. He's got a review I'm sure is going to come out today of the first 2 episodes. That guy knows everything about Tolkien. I do not. So, but I'll just say that it's just the appendices of, like, well, here are some of the events that occurred and some of the characters and what they were doing before the events that occurred in The Lord of the Rings, right? So this is sort of like, oh, here's some sort of vague, like, things that happened, in thousands of years before. And so they took those appendices, and then they've since they've elaborated quite liberally and turned that into a story. So I don't know if these characters were even in the books, like in that appendices, the Silmarillion. So thank you for your comment, Zachary Bloom. From North Jersey, they are not deleting reviews, they are screening them. Only good ones make it to the site, or no one who has made a negative post about it.
I mean, quite in their defense, I'm only seeing 5 reviews. There's only 5 reviews.
No, those are 5 professional reviews of Rotten Tomatoes critics.
I'm hit because I hit the.
I'm talking about user reviews.
You know what it is? I'm pressing this. I'm pressing the thing, and it's glitching. It's like I'll get some reviews. I'll get certain people reviews. It's not working. If I don't know if they're getting bombarded, but the page is not working in terms of me being able to see who's reviewing the movie.
Well, and I also really, this is great that it's weird sometimes you're reviewing something people haven't seen. You know, it always helps when the audience has also been able to participate in this. But let's go through. We're going to continue to go through the Teague for 10. Always great to hear y'all's thoughts. Why do you think people like the Harley Quinn show over She-Hulk? To me, they are both Venture Brothers type spoofs of their respected universes. I don't know. Maybe it's because Harley Quinn is a cartoon. People are maybe more willing to accept ridiculous things that happen in a cartoon rather than ridiculous things that happen in a live action show. Like, for example, if the Simpsons cartoon show, animated show, was a live action show, they could never get away with saying what they do about religion, politics. You could never do that in a live action show, but somehow people will accept it in an animated show. And I think that's the same thing with the Harley Quinn show. Ridiculous statements and things occur and no one cares because it's animated. Because it doesn't matter, right? It's not, but when it happens in a live action show like She-Hulk, it's like, well, that actually affects the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Like, you know, these television Disney Plus Marvel shows are part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And, you know, obviously there were events like in WandaVision that had consequences in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So I think that's why people are more upset about She-Hulk. Great question and comment there. Seth Hulk for 10. Thank you for that. And a member. Go to Amazon's Prime Video page. Okay, this makes sense. Go to Amazon Prime's video page. They have deleted every view from last night. There was a 1-star reviews at like 2 a.m. my time this morning. The stars are gone, and it says to be the first one to review this. So maybe go to that page, Alan. Let's.
Yeah, I am. I'm not seeing. I'm not sure I'm on the right page, but I'm not seeing reviews at all on the page.
Oh, nothing on Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, I could show you. You know, it's just your standard page. I don't know if they do post reviews here or comments, but there's nothing. Absolutely nothing.
There's no reviews, but they always do that.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, let me research a little bit more.
Oh man.
Maybe it's the page I'm on, but yeah, there's nothing there.
Cool. All right. Well, there you go. All right, we're gonna.
Oh yeah.
What?
Sorry, I'm showing zero reviews on the
so far.
Yeah, so far they're not posting anything in terms of stars, good or positive, good or bad.
All right, well, there you go. And then Shelby AC says, "Good on you guys for ignoring the internet bullies." Yeah, hell yeah, fuck them. That's what I say. Fuck them. Fuck them if you can't take a joke. Valerie Walker, that was something very famous quote from Mick Jagger, lead singer of the Rolling Stones. I feel like I need to point that out now. You can't just say Mick Jagger and assume everybody knows what you're talking about. Mick Jagger, lead singer of the Rolling Stones. Famous quote of his that I learned as a kid and loved. He said, fuck them if they can't take a joke. We posted a picture of a poster. Fuck off. Yeah. Jesus.
So that's the Mick Jagger of Moves Like Jagger?
Yeah. Valerie Walker, thank you. Your channel is quickly becoming one of my favorite movie news new channel I have been watching since your Oscar live stream. Well, thank you for that. We've almost broke 1,000 on that Oscar night. We had like over 900 people watching. We
I'm pretty
almost,
sure.
I don't know. Look, I still have no idea how YouTube works. If anyone could tell me, please let me know. But thank you, Valerie, for your comment. Luther Telbert, remember, kids aren't taught to critically think, but instead to demand everything be their way. Yeah, it's weird sort of entitlement. Like, do what I want. Like the character from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Master Blaster. Master is the little person that's on the top of the head of, Blaster, right? The strong man, which is this sort of childlike face when it's revealed. Do what I want. Yeah, that's what I always think.
Yeah, I've always believed that when your opinions are challenged, you come out a better person in the end.
Exactly. And the fact that the mainstream media like ignored all the Hunter Biden stuff is kind of disgusting, if you ask me.
Yeah, or a certain pandemic we went through. The fact that you can't
there's a lot we could discuss. Let's talk about movies and TV shows. Santos says this down with the patriarchy doesn't work with Tolkien. Yeah, it's right from the first scene, Santos. It's right from the first scene. So young Galadriel builds a boat. She builds this little, and it's a swan, right? Going from an ugly piece of paper to blooming as a swan in this going down this little stream, right? And of course she does this, and look, it's floating. And then of course the boys are throwing rocks at it to sink the boat, which would probably happen in real life. Yeah, why not? Who cares? It's just a stupid boat. But it's so on the nose. And then her brother gives her this whole speech that was so long-winded. Every scene, this is what I felt. I'm going to read the rest of your comment in a second. Every scene goes on twice as long as it should. It was some of those scenes were just insufferable. Like I go like, well, what's the takeaway from that scene? Like it's like they needed it. It's like they kind of like, okay, I'm going to admit this. When I was in college and high school and we were tasked with writing an essay, I would get long-winded to fill the page. Okay? We've all done it. You sit down to write an essay and you're just rambling. And that's what a lot of the scenes in The Rings of Power felt like. They were rambling, like, and the takeaway from this, and the point is what? But Santos says this down with the patriarchy doesn't work with Tolkien. Every man is introduced by the name of his father. Frodo, son of Drogo. Aragorn, son of Arathorn. Aragorn, son of Arathorn, etc. So Lord of the Rings is essentially patriarchal. Yeah.
Yeah. Which was much like that time.
Yeah. So
the other thing about Galadriel is whatever happened to femininity.
Yes.
It's masculinity is toxin. So are we ashamed of femininity? Is that the deal?
Yeah.
I don't. This is the discussion that I'd like to have one day. Is what is the place of femininity in this society today, and is this a good or positive trait? Just like masculinity is clearly a negative trait nowadays.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just, what I miss, and like going to the movies, it feels weird now when you go to the movies and you say, oh my gosh, that's a heterosexual couple on screen. Or you're like, oh my gosh, that's a woman and she's dressed in an attractive way that highlights certain attributes. But they're perfectly willing to make the male characters in the Marvel Universe sex objects. In the first episode of She-Hulk, talking about Captain America's ass, or talking about Captain America's virginity, or stripping Thor completely naked in front of everyone when Zeus flicked too much in Thor: Love and Thunder. Like, so I actually don't mind them doing that to Thor. What I'm saying is, all right, let's see Black Widow looking hot. Let's see some of the female characters look sexy. They're desexualizing a lot of characters. And it's, you even see like,
well, I think it's a pendulum swing. We've mentioned this many times, but this year, 2022, we've seen more penises on screen than we have boobs.
First of all, we need a t-shirt with a quote. from Alan Ing. I have seen more penises on screen
That boobs.
than boobs this year. John Manalang, adversity builds character. I believe it. That is, first of all, it's true in storytelling. That is also true in real life. Some of the biggest challenges that I've faced in my life, I've gone through a lot of them. You know, I was in the room when my father passed away. He was in hospice. I slept in a chair all weekend. It was not an easy thing to go through. It was like an out-of-body experience. That was rough. And the kind of adversity, when I look at, like, I almost went doing Film Threat in the late 90s, almost went bankrupt. I had all this debt. It was nuts, but I survived it. And then I learned the lesson. The whole thing is it's like, you know, this is why video games are kind of an allegory for life. Like, you're going to keep running up against the same problem until you beat that boss or you know, defeat this character or get past this level. Because it's all about, like, okay, I went through these steps. I failed. I have to do something different. Okay. And yeah, John Manalang, thank you. That is,
well, I mean, movies used to be based on that a character, something bad happened to that character, and their character was then built because they got through whatever challenge they had to face. To talk about.
Well, I think we've moved on from Lord of the Rings of Power. Alan, you are refusing to watch it.
No, I'm not refusing to. If we want to continue on down the path, I will continue to watch it. I won't enjoy it, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe, unlike She-Hulk, maybe it gets better and great.
Well, episodes come out on Thursdays. So we could talk about it every Friday morning. We'll talk about the new episode, but we're not going to spend as much time on it. You know, we did our whole 2-hour live stream. We've talked about it for nearly an hour, along with some other topics. I think we should pivot now.
I'm just saying, if it gets repetitive, I think that's when the problem comes. If the complaints just are the same each week. You know.
Well, it's slow moving and it's kind of directionless. And this thing with the Harfoots and the stranger. Who is the stranger? Anyone care to guess? I'm saying it's Dumbledore. Kidding. When I was coming out of the theater after having seen it, I said, Dumbledore's not even in this. I just said that very loudly and nobody laughed.
Honestly, I think it's Magneto.
Is it Magneto? No, it's not Magneto. No, yeah, I mean, is it Gandalf? I don't know. Is it Gandalf? Is it Sauron? Who is the stranger who, you know, basically emerged fine out of some asteroid that flew across? We saw all the characters sort of turn their eye to the skies as this flaming meteor crashed near the Harfoots, and the young female Frodo. I'm just going to call her female Frodo. What's her name?
Have no Poppy or something? Is it
Poppy?
I have no idea. I don't really want to look it up.
I always got the sense that hobbits were really chill and were like stoners. Like they were into weed.
Yeah, they're into ale. They're into ale and they're into weed.
They like to party and they're fun. It's so weird. Not just a couple more quick comments before we pivot here. But on Lord of the Rings of Power, compare the hobbits in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, right? Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers. There's something when there's this world building that Peter Jackson does, where you get into the world of the hobbits, not just like how they live, where they live, all the different characters. There's that one husband and wife where the wife kind of like, the husband looks like he's happy to see Gandalf. Then he sees that the wife doesn't approve, and then he changes his expression. There's something like whimsical and fun, and not a lot happens in the beginning, but what he's doing is world building. And he's showing like, look how delightful and beautiful this and idyllic this life is. Sure, there are other share of challenges, but it's not something that you can't overcome. And then, you know, Frodo is tasked with going on an adventure with Gandalf, and they have a mission, and you know their very existence and world is at stake. I don't know what the stakes are, and I don't know what the story is, and we're 2 episodes in.
I know.
That's a problem.
That is a serious problem, because I mean that's why it's like, why should I? Why are you telling me I need to keep watching this? And you're basically saying, hey, look, just get to the end. you know, you'll get it. And it's like, no, you've got to sell me on episode 1.
Yeah. So yeah, and when Elrond like basically goes to the land of the dwarves to hire him as a building contractor, that's what he's doing. He's going there like, oh, I have this whole world I want to build. I know who can build it. The dwarves will let me go there and hire them as building contractors. This is a storyline, folks. This is a real story. I mean, if you break it down, I love when people like, there'll be these like Twitter threads, or sometimes you'll see where someone like, you just break a story down to its essence of what it's about. Have you seen those? And then at the end you put hilarity ensues, you know, like, you know, you take like a very simple film like The Wizard of Oz or whatever, and you just sort of like explain like the plot in one sentence. And it's just Elrond is going to hire a building contractor. That's what's happened. And that actually is, and what's so funny, Elrond going to hire the building contractor, the dwarves, is the best scene in the whole 2 episodes because it's funny and it's whimsical.
Yeah. And it's also, you know, what they're building or what they want to build. You know, this is not a good thing that they're going to build. Yeah, it's too predictable in that case. You know, now we're going down a road that we know that they're going down, and there's no mysteries.
Shucksy, fun in modern entertainment. Keep dreaming, Chris. My favorite theory about the stranger is that he might be the Balrog. They were the same type of creatures as the wizards once, but corrupted. This could be that form, says John Wilbecker. And good to have you back, John. I appreciate it. Look, we are going to continue to keep with it. I'm going to watch it. Al, I'm not going to tell you to watch it.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
You watch lots of, oh, wow. Adrian Curry is in our chat. Adrian Curry for 20. Thank you, Adrian. You didn't have to do that. You did not have to do that. Adrian Curry is such a sweet soul. She was on Timcast with Tim Pool because she watches that show. And I saw like, wait, Adrian Curry, you're in the chat there? Love to see you on FNT at some point. Adrian Curry says, happy birthday, Dilver Fox. I love your dynamic with each other and your positivity, even when talking about everything we love being destroyed. Well, we have to have fun doing it. But Adrian, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Adrian. She is amazing. Follow Adrian on social media. She's sort of crawling out and kind of looking around and going, oh, it's still a shit show. Like I just last night, I always post this thing. Every few months, I post a thing about Ming the Merciless, just to remind people that Ming the Merciless kept all the kingdoms of Mongo fighting amongst each other, basically to distract from him, you know, his dictatorial rule. I just like to do that sort of in timely places. Thank you, Adrian. You're a sweetheart. Or rather, birthday week. Thank you for that. Adrian is great. This is funny. I wish Prime had 1.5 speed, says Tertiary Adjunct. Great. And George Molo for $49.99. Thank you. Found Galadriel to have 2 modes, either Ms. Mary Sue Maxi Pad or Kickball Karen shouting at the referee. Love Film Threat. All hail Chris and Alan. George, we got to have you back. We do our Wednesday show in the afternoons. Maybe George could come on and chat with us on Wednesday.
I think Grace Randolph was saying similar things too.
Really? Oh, that's right. She said she was like a Karen and the Mary Sue, which is, I think, completely accurate. Completely accurate. Thank you, George, for that. That's awesome. Adrian Curry, anyone who doesn't super chat, Alan and Chris are admitting they love the Rings of Power more than the Fellowship.
There you go. There you go.
Adrian. Oh, that's so great.
It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah, it's true. You love the Rings of Power. Jedi Shredder for $4.99, purely trying to avoid being labeled as favoring Rings of Power over Lord of the Rings per Adrian. Love the channel. Thanks, and keep up the great work. That's great.